take a moment. We have to do a massive stage change right now, so I wanted to get through a couple of things with you while they're doing that, hopefully as quietly as teenagers can possibly do. We'll see how that goes. First of all, thank you for being here tonight. This is a very important concert for us. Not to say that our other concerts aren't important, they all are, but this is a much more serious in nature concert. We are obviously preparing for our assessment. It's known as MPA, because you know everything has acronyms these days. MPA stands for Music Performance Assessment, which is part of the Music Educators National Conference. They govern pretty much the entire United States, and they have subsidiaries such as FOA, which is the Florida Orchestra Association. They have that for band and choir and a bunch of other groups as well. But we fall under the Florida Orchestra group. As part of our involvement in FOA, we do participate in MPA. We are required to have one group perform. We are very fortunate and lucky that we have 3 amazing string ensembles, and one of them being a full group that we are able to take obviously to this assessment. We have a district level, and then we also have a state level. This year we're doing the district, that's what's coming up right now. So we are preparing for that. Now, as far as the event goes, you're only seeing a very small portion of it. Okay? As you notice, we did a little bit of warm-up on stage. That's entirely a logistical concern, just for tonight. When they're doing the event for real, they will have a 30-minute warm-up block in which we get to go disappear in a room where nobody else sees us. I get to work with them, tune them, warm them up, all of that kind of stuff. Then they actually come on stage and they have 3 contrasting pieces that they have to perform at a certain grade level based on their abilities and technique. And then they perform for judges that give us critiques and a final rating. After that stage performance, we then go to a sight reading room, which is the most terrifying room and event of all of it. You have to go and the students are given a piece of music. They're literally given 5 minutes to look at the music. That's it. Literally, it's in a folder. They can't open it. Judge says, go. You open it. You get 5 minutes. And, well, then they have to perform it for a rating. A piece they've never seen before, which is terrifying. And as a director, it is incredibly stressful. Luckily, our kids usually do a really good job with that. But in the moment, it's pretty intense. That is actually probably the most interesting thing to see of the whole event. For one thing, I'm going 90 miles a minute as far as words, and half the time they don't make sense, but the kids understand it. They're not allowed to play the instruments. All they can do is air play their instruments. So imagine air guitar, and that's what they're doing. And then they perform it. So they have no idea how it sounds other than whatever I can give them or whatever they can sing, which they're good musicians, but they're instrumentalists for a reason. Okay. But anyway, so we have the sight reading portion, and then we're done. Okay? It's a very intense moment. Now, as far as logistics for tonight, obviously I don't have the flexibility. I can't clone myself. Sometimes I wish I could. But I can't go back in a room and warm them up and then come out here and perform with a stage group when we have 3 different groups. So that is why we've had a little bit of warm-up on stage, just to make sure, if more than anything, mentally focused. Okay? We have done a lot of physical warm-up before the concert, but this is more of a mental warm-up for us once we get on the stage. Okay? As you can see, we have 3 fantastic groups. We're very, very fortunate, and we're very, very lucky that we get to take them. They've done a really good job preparing for this, but as I tell them every day, it's not good enough tonight, and it's definitely not good enough tomorrow. You have to do better. The expectations are always raised higher and higher. As far as MPA goes, we obviously want to do well. I'm a very competitive person. They're very competitive people, but it's not about the rating. It's about how well they do, how well they can do with their ability. Okay, so that's what's most important here. It's not the actual rating. Okay, we want them to do very, very well. I will say a lot of planning goes into all of this. Obviously, if you can imagine, dating back 2.5 months ago, you have to pick the right literature based on the grade level. You have to get all the rehearsals put together. These guys have to practice, at least they say they do. They have to play playing tests, all that kind of stuff. There's a lot that goes into this. And then there's a lot behind the scenes where we have parents working until midnight on uniforms. We have parents that are putting together dinners and counting money, all those types of things. So it's a lot of work. I mean, you're talking about moving 140 kids plus their instruments off campus with music, and pray to God that nobody forgets anything, much less be able to actually perform music. Okay, so there's a lot that goes into this. As far as tonight, I do want to recognize our two judges that we do have here tonight. We have Miss Lisa Ferrigno, who is actually our violin coach instructor and violinist extraordinaire. She plays all over the country for that matter. She plays with Disney, with OPO. She's fantastic. We love having her on our staff, and she's here to help us tonight judge. And we also have our second guest judge that's in the house. We have Mr. Vincent Conrad, who is the one and only over at Avalon Middle School directing our orchestra there, and we're so excited to have him in our community and have him here helping us tonight. Really great addition to our programs. And we will have two other judges that are going to listen to our recordings that we're making and give us feedback as well. They just are not here physically. But they will be giving us some input as well, and that will be Ms. Bitters from Winter Park High School, as well as Mr. Garassi, who was one of our guest clinicians that came in and worked with the groups. So we're very, very fortunate to get a lot of feedback. A few reminders just because I have the moment. Parents, just to give you a heads up, obviously things are about to get really, really stressful and intense. Obviously all the band kids have MPA this week. We wish them the best of luck for that. They go Thursday and Friday depending on their ensemble. Next week we have two lovely major events happening at the same time, because, you know, why not make things difficult? We have choir MPA and orchestra MPA at the same time, involving a lot of the same kids, and we happen to be hosting the choir MPA here at Timber Creek, while orchestra is leaving off-site to go to Olympia High School. So it's going to be a bit chaotic, okay? Your children may be a little bit confused. There's a lot going on, so I can kind of understand it, but they're still responsible for everything. So if you have a child that is in Serenade Orchestra or Philharmonic, just a reminder, they have to turn in the bus fee and their dinner fee by Friday, okay? That's been sent home in an email. It was sent home in paperwork with the kids. I hope they gave it to you. And alerts have been sent out via Remind 101. So you need to talk to your child. They have not told you about that yet, okay? But that is something that has to be taken care of. That's for anyone that's in Serenade or Philharmonic, okay? For all three ensembles, there will be field trips passed out in class tomorrow, and those need to be signed by you and 7th period teachers for Serenade and Philharmonic. But those have to be turned in by Friday. So that's another thing that's going on. So just as a heads up, there's a lot of stuff happening, so please, please, please help us make sure that gets taken care of. So that you know, in case you haven't seen our performances next week, Serenade, which was the first group that performed tonight, they perform Thursday, March 12th, and that'll be at 5 p.m. We'd love to have you there. Our concert orchestra performs on Friday, March 13th, and they perform at 8:30 p.m. Love to have you there. And then Philharmonic will be performing Thursday night, March 12th, and they perform at 7 p.m. right after the dinner break, so we would love to have you there for that group as well. We would like to thank, just really quickly, all of our parents that have been helping volunteer, our administration, our staff, our clinicians that have come in, also Triumph for ushering, and obviously our judges that are assisting with this concert. You make everything a lot better and a lot more substantial for these kids to be able to experience great opportunities. So thank you to all of those people. All right, so the last thing is we have our Philharmonic on stage. We will do 3 stage performances, but we do have something in addition, and that is a student conductor piece. That does not happen with every ensemble, but we do have a student conductor by the name of Gabe Garcia. He happens to do a lot of things, actually. He plays French horn in this group, but cello in the string portion, and then he also conducts, so he's kind of busy. But he's student conducting, and his responsibility is basically to do everything that I do. He has to pick the literature, rehearse the group. I don't rehearse them, he does it all himself. Okay? And they have to be able to respond to him and be able to perform, and then he actually gets critiqued on this. He gets an assessment level rating as well. This is done usually, well, not usually, it is done in the sight reading room. We're doing it tonight on stage so that you may see this and so that Gabe gets an opportunity to perform for a live audience. Okay? So he will be performing, and then we also have our 3 pieces. So again, thank you for coming tonight. We appreciate you being here. Thanks for listening to the announcements, and we'll get on with the show.